we will discuss the topic process states of the process. Actually, states of the process comes in module 1 end in the operating system, and it continues up to second module. So we will try to cover in the form of a story whole second module and last part of the first module. When one program enters to the system, it will be residing in the disk. So program entering to the system will reside in that disk, and it will form a queue called job queue. Job queue, in the job queue program will reside. Queue means it is QUE. Okay. So when the program is entering to the system, we are not considering it as a process when it waits in the job queue. When we consider the program as a process, when it goes for execution. Execution means when the process is entering to the system, it is just a written program, static program. In the time of execution, it may need some stack involvement, it may need some other file. Okay, it may need some resource like printer, scanner. So when all those required things are associated with program, then program become process. So actually when program become process, it becomes not that when the program become process, after program become process, it should be analyzed that whether it is ready to execute or not. What is the meaning of ready to execute? Ready to execute means if we give the CPU without wasting a fraction of second, process will be executing. It means it is ready with all the resources, only it requires CPU for execution. So when the process is ready with all input output devices, whatever it needs, and it is just waiting for CPU, at that time process can be taken from new state to ready state. Okay. Now what happens is when our process is when our process should be taken from new state to ready state, what we have to, how it will be taken from new state to ready state. There is a scheduler called long-term scheduler. Scheduler is what? There are three types of scheduler: long-term scheduler, short-term scheduler, and medium-term scheduler. There are three types of scheduler. What is scheduler? Scheduler is it is a program which takes decision of which process should be taken from one state to another state. Based on their frequency of execution, scheduler is divided into three categories. So long term means it takes more time to decide which one will be taken. Short term means it takes very fast decision to decide which process will be taken from ready state to running state. Whereas medium term scheduler, when it will come, I will explain. Okay. So long term scheduler is associated between new state and ready state. It is responsible for bringing the process from new state to ready state. So a long term scheduler, why it is used in this state? Because this state transition, because it is not a very vital decision. It can be taken slowly from new state to ready state. Why it can be taken slowly? Because when the process is in ready state, it should be immediately executed. But when the process in new state, lot of space is there in disk, so it is not very urgent to change the state. Process can wait in this state because sufficient space is there. Now, when the process is shifted to the ready queue, what will happen? Ready queue is formed in the memory. So it means long-term scheduler takes the process present in new state when they are in disk to memory, and when it comes to memory, it actually reaches to ready state. Okay. So ready state, then the process resides in main memory. So main memory means nothing but RAM. So RAM means it is a process. It is not now a program now. It is a process. Ready queue, usually it will be in the shape of linked list, structure of linked list, and short term scheduler will take the decision of which process will be taken for execution now. So when short term scheduler has taken decision that maybe in the ready queue one process will be taken to the running state, at that time who is actually taking the process from here to there? See, please try to understand. Short term scheduler is a decision maker which will take the decision of which process will from the linked list, from the ready queue is linked and linked list both are same, don't consider linked list, better to consider as ready queue. So when which process to be taken to running state, but actually which module, like which program is responsible for giving the CPU to the process present in the ready queue is this module or this program is called dispatcher. So I'll repeat once again, the process stored in ready queue, many processes are stored in ready queue. So short term scheduler will take the decision of which process to be taken to the next step, that is running state. But who is attaching CPU with the process present in ready queue is a module called dispatcher. So scheduler dispatch means scheduler will decide which process to be taken to running state, and dispatcher will attach the CPU with the process. So running state is the state of the process when the process enters to a state when process will be attached with the CPU. Now one important thing I would like to mention is, see, we have told here it is a model. Why it is considered as a model? Because it does not happen in reality that CPU comes and joins with the process. It does not happen. Okay, process, how it happens actually, this state diagram is for user understanding how the process is executing step by step. Kernel is not aware of that. Okay, so this is just a model how process actually executes, not that CPU runs to the process and gets attached, not at all like that. These all concepts already I have explained in my previous videos. So now come back. So dispatcher is the module which will attach CPU to the process present in the ready queue where the process is selected by short term scheduler. In the running state, process is attached to its CPU. If there are multiple CPU, multiple process can be taken to the running state. There is no problem for that. If the process executes smoothly, it enters to the terminated state. Terminated means it exits from the system. If it exits from the system, what happens is the process is no more required, but some data of that process, part of the process, actual program, that will be stored. Termination means not that process works and goes out of the system. Okay, process will be written, execution will be done. So it will occupy some memory. So on deallocation is a one thing which is needed for corresponding step of termination, because process is no more required. Memory can be deallocated so that memory can be occupied by some other process. Now this state you just consider, usually for process we consider state new, ready, running, terminated and waiting. Okay, now these two states are extra state. One is suspended wait and suspended ready and suspended wait. I will explain it later. Please don't write those things when the question will be asked in exam. Just explain the 5 states. Okay, now when process is in running state, if it is done with the execution, everything is, all resources there, no interruption, nothing, it will be terminated. Now in the process present in the running state, what can happen is, when the process in the running state, there may be some more higher priority processes arrived to the ready state which has to be executed. Some more process with higher priority means we can tell some system process, like you want to execute on C programming which was running, but at that moment in the ready queue one process is waiting which is related to system, like some system job has to be done. So at that time, obviously that process should be given priority. So what can happen? Your process may be interrupted and gone back to ready queue. It is interrupted because some higher priority process have come. So that should be decided by the short term scheduler, and dispatcher should attach CPU with the particular system process, and that process will be taken for execution. So there may be some reason of stopping the running state and taking the process to back to some other state. So this is an example of taking the process back to the ready state again. Why ready state? Because not in waiting state, because it is ready only, it was executing only, but because of some other process has to be given more priority, so it has been taken back to the ready state. One more reason why it can be taken back to the ready state is, you see here, time quantum, if time quantum expires. When time quantum expires, time quantum means in CPU scheduling algorithm we'll discuss what is time quantum in details. Time quantum means it is like suppose in your classroom there are 5 students. So what I can do is, instead of I finish all the request of one student, I can just decide, okay, I will give 2 minutes time to each individual student, so that some part of first students I can do, second also should not wait, so I should give some time for second, let second one initiate, then I will move to third process, like that. So if I decide itself that after first students, after a certain time I will move to second process. So obviously first process, when 2 minutes will expire, first process will be interrupted, obviously, because this interrupt is internal interrupt. We have already set, not internal, I should tell it is external. Externally it is said that after 2 minutes it has to be stopped and second one has to be started. So second one will be taken from ready state to running state, and first one should be interrupted and gone back to ready state. Now third case, why I have not given number 3, because see here, this case is related to this arrow. Like these two are the cases where process moves from running state to ready state. This is the case when process moves from running state to waiting state. Okay. Before that I want to tell you one thing. Green color means related to new state, and green arrow means if it is starting from that state, I have given the same color what I have used for that state. So from the orange state, when we have this many branches, one is terminated, one is interrupted, one is IO or event wait. So these all are initiating from running state, so I have used the same color for that, and I have written it in the same color only. Now consider the situation when from running state it will go to waiting state. Okay, before that, one more small thing I forgot to tell, that is when process should be taken from ready state to running state, a short-term scheduler will take decision, that I told, but based on the decision, like based on what decision should be taken, for that we have many CPU scheduling algorithm. CPU is one, processes are many. So it is a very important thing to take a decision of which process should be given CPU. Okay, so obviously there should be some algorithm related to that. So CPU scheduling algorithm works between ready state to running state, like it is a decision of which process should be taken to ready queue to running queue. There are many algorithms for that, like FCFS, your shortest job first, shortest reminder job first, round robin, all those things, which will be discussed in the next video. Okay, now come back. So running state to waiting state, when process will go to waiting state is, see, when process needs some file or IO device, process is executing. Now while executing the process, what process will do is, process may need in the middle of execution, suppose one process has to print some value. So previously it was ready with resources, but it was not knowing that it has to be attached with a printer in the middle of the execution. So what will happen? The process will be shifted to the waiting state. Okay. So when process will be shifted to the waiting state, it will again form a queue, because there will be many processes shifting to the waiting state. So it will form a queue. Now what will be the type of queue? This queue is what will be usually formed in waiting state is called device queue. Device queue means maybe process requires a printer. For that only it could not continue its rest of the part execution. It has moved to the waiting state. But there may be many processes which might have moved to the waiting state because of the necessity of printer. So for printer also some queue will be generated. Okay, so this queue, maybe process 6, 7 and 11 has entered to the queue, which is called device queue. So device queue will be formed in the waiting state. Now the question is where the device queue will be generated, whether it is in memory or whether it is in disk. Okay, so before I make it clear, I should tell waiting queue initially will be generated in the RAM only, like in the main memory only. Now in main memory there are many processes So if they are waiting for some resource, so there is no point of keeping that process in the RAM. That process can be shifted to the disk or secondary memory only. So you can consider another substate here which is called suspended wait. So the process which is waiting for a printer, they can be shifted to the disk and they can form a queue, and that queue may be for the printer. So the process which are going to be waited for a device which is not present in the main memory, it is somewhere in the system. So waiting for that, it is no use of consuming memory space and waiting for a resource which is somewhere in the memory, and it may take time. So suspended wait state means process will be shifted to the disk or secondary memory. So at that time it will be forming a queue if there are more number of processes waiting for the same device. So it is called just swapped out from the RAM or main memory and swapped into the disk. Okay, so at that moment of time when we are considering that, at this context we will introduce medium term scheduler. What is medium term scheduler is, it selects a good mixture of CPU bound and IO bound job. What is the meaning of selection of good mixture of CPU bound and IO bound job is, see, actually there are two types of job. We can categorize job in another way, two ways. That is, one is CPU one is IO burst and one is CPU burst. What is IO burst job? Which spends more time out of whole lifetime, which spends more time for IO devices. And there are some jobs which spends more time for CPU execution. Let us take one example. Like in a process, you have 100 addition, subtraction, multiplication. There is no printing, no scanning, nothing. So this job will be considered as a CPU bound job, which will only do maximum time do calculation, at last maybe printing. Okay, and there are some jobs like you are just copying some data from external device to memory. So it is only copying, like you just need some device to copy the data. So this is called IO device. This is called IO bound job. So what medium term scheduler does is, if always there are CPU bound job present in the main memory, okay, what will happen? CPU will be only busy. When all the times IO bound jobs are present in the main memory, what will happen? CPU will be idle and processes will be continuously doing IO operation. So medium term scheduler, what it does is, it keeps a good mixture of job to running state and good mixture of job, like some job in the running state and some job in the waiting state. Waiting state in the sense they can finish their IO operation. So what is the work function of medium term scheduler is, it selects a good mixture of IO bound and CPU bound job. It tells out of 10 jobs, maybe 4 are CPU bound. So it tells you be here, and 6 job it tells anyhow you have come to the waiting state. So let me take you to the suspended waiting state where you can go to disk, clear the memory, and let the jobs which are executing, let it be executed. Now, so this part hopefully it is understandable. Now again from waiting state, when the process is ready, it will be shifted to ready state. Then again when turn will come according to CPU scheduler, it will be scheduled by short term scheduler. So it will be again taken to the running state. Again it may come to waiting state because of deficiency of some IO device. Again it can go. So process can move between this cycle again and again. There is no limitation for that, how many times. The moment it executes, in between it clears from the system. One more thing which is last I want to tell is, see here, this is one thing, this is one part we left. When the process is in ready queue and ready queue is completely filled, at that time what happens? Ready queue is filled and process enters with higher priority. Like process is there here, but it has to be entered to the ready state. It is maybe some system process. It has to be executed. So for execution, it has to come to ready state. So at that time, process will be kept to the suspended ready state. Suspended ready state in the sense, you can tell that some process should be cleared from here actually from the ready state, and it should be given priority. So in suspended ready state, which process will be there? The process which has higher priority than the process present in the ready state. In that state, suspended ready state, in that condition, process will reside in the suspended ready state. Moment it clears, from here it will be taken to ready and it will be taken for execution. Now when it is in the running state, your rest of the chapter is based on this. See, many processes are running. There may be multiple processes, so many processes may run together. There may be dependency between the processes. So what happens is, process needs cooperation while execution. Okay, one process may give value that will be taken by another process. So process needs cooperation while in the running state. One may take others value, one may depends on others output. One process input may be dependent on others output. So between the process there should be inter-process communication. If there is a inter-process communication, two processes are communicating, when we are telling one process output will be taken by another process, then one process should generate output. Like if A is giving output and B is taking input of A's output, then what will happen? B has to wait until and unless A completes its output. So there should be a synchronization between A and B. Okay, so because of inter-process communication, synchronization is very much required. In semaphore is nothing but a synchronization tool. Synchronization tool is used so that one process can finish and another process can start. There should be some rules imposed in semaphore concept, where you should be introduced with wait and signal. Wait and signal means, you can understand, B has to wait until and unless A completes. So B should execute, then A should execute and give a signal, then only B should start. So semaphore is all about that. It is a synchronization tool which will help A and B to synchronize. Next, last topic of this module is critical section problem. So from here, how critical section problem comes, when I told A is giving a output and B is working on that, in that case what I will tell, always dependency will not be like that. There should be some other kind of inter-process communication or process cooperation is also there. Like there are two processes executing, both are working on a same value I. Maybe A is working on I in the beginning and B is working on I at the end. So, but both are I variable, which is modified by, which is used by A also, even B also. So, we need to make sure that when A is working on I, B should not work on I. Otherwise, both will be modifying the value of I. At that case, when both the process will stop, we will not be able to take a conclusion that I value is produced by A or I value is produced by B. So, what will happen? This program code consists of I is called critical section for A, that may be in the beginning of program A, and program code consists of I, which is present in B. It may be at the last B is doing, but this part will be considered as a critical section. So a critical section problem also, this all thing happens in, you can say, in running state. So you need to, these are the topics coming from here. So one small brief review, new state process will be in disk and it will form a queue called job queue. Long-term scheduler will take the decision of which will be taken to the ready state. Okay, then from ready state, short-term scheduler will take the decision of which process should be attached with CPU, like which will be shifted to running state. And who will actually give control of CPU to the process is dispatcher. Okay, now dispatcher is the module which directly gives CPU to the process. Now process will be executing and it will be terminating at the time of, if it executes completely, it will be terminated and memory allocated by process should be deallocated. Okay, then next is in running state there may be interrupt may come because of high priority or high quantum like if quantum time expires, it will be shifted to ready state. If there is a deficiency of some device, it will come to waiting state, and this thing may happen again and again. So if you like the video, you please subscribe. Thank you so much for patience.